Oh man, it's a good question because it's so broad, just like horror movie. The horror genre is broad.
Hello, Colin.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for your time. A pleasure to talk to you
Absolutely.
and a pleasure to talk about the Jester,
Yes,
the second one.
The Jester, the second one. That was the original title, but they said we can't call it that. That's stupid.
I know. But we do. We can do that.
Yeah, we can call it. That's the title, the second one.
That's amazing. So talk a little bit about the inspiration this time around. I know that it's Halloween, but like what was like the main inspiration for that?
I think for me, it was after the first feature. Um, I asked myself if I did get the opportunity to make another Jester feature, what would I want to do different? What would be the reason other than just making another one? Um, what would I change? And what I really wanted was I wanted to go back to the short films. I think the short films have such a specific tone and atmosphere and energy to those that when you're making them, it just is like a byproduct of all these different elements that come crashing together. And then when you're trying to years later tap back into that, you're like, ah, God, like you have to relearn why did that? Well, now I have to deconstruct it almost as a different filmmaker. And so those they had so much fun and so much whimsy to them, and I wanted to if I could just extract that tone and that atmosphere of those shorts and put that in this feature, that was my goal, and that's what I wanted to do.
And what was like the challenge this time around, because you might have some challenges there, like so.
Oh yeah, how much time do you have? The challenge always starts with the script. Like you can make, we had challenges all through this whole thing. We had a very small budget. We had very little time. So obviously there's challenges in the production, but even if we had more time and more money, if we were starting from a bad script, all that's for naught. So I knew this time around I was like, I gotta get this story right. And writing for the Jester is really hard because I wanted to do something new this time, but was also trying to be evocative and pull forward these things from that started 9 years ago now at this point, which is insane to think about. But um, there's baggage because there are other iterations of the Jester throughout those 9 years, and trying to pull and be true to those things, and also push forward in a new direction and feel like you're not repeating yourself, but also remaining faithful to something else. It's like trying to find that balance and not feel like you're cheating any side of it. A huge challenge. And then all the magic stuff is just like so difficult to come up with. And yeah, challenges galore. Lots of challenges, but it starts with the script. That was the biggest challenge.
Yes, yes, I imagine, it's like all independent movies, especially independent movies, they are all have challenges, and
Oh,
but you
yeah.
guys did a really good job. Also, we need to talk about the mask, this collaboration with Jason, how
Hmm.
this collaboration came about, and what was like, did you have any, because since I didn't talk to you on the first one, so I want to know if did you have any like specifics that you wanna, okay, you need to have that in the mask. You need to have that type of smile, that type of color, the way that the hair falls a little bit to the back. Did you have any specific, or did you told him you free create your
No,
whatever you want?
no. Unfortunately, with the mask, he was not free to create. There was a very specific mandate with the mask this time around. Jason was a part of the first one as well. He did just the design and fabrication of the mask on the first one, and that one there were a lot of changes and challenges and compromises and just a whole slew of its own things that movie had to go through, which ended up there were a ton of changes made to the mask that were all small changes at first that just kept piling on top of each other, and then we ended up with the mask from the first movie. And so this time around, I was like, I want to. It is the mask from the first movie is evocative of the shorts, but I think it just moved a little too far away in terms of the design of it. And Mike has such a specific, he's a very angular gentleman, he's a
Yeah.
very angular face and long limbs and he's tall. So, and I think the mask that we had in the shorts just magically fit his face so perfectly. It was a $6 mask from Walgreens, but it was perfect for his body and his head. So I was like, I just need to get back to something like that embraces his natural physique and doesn't change it so much. So I went to Jason this time around. I was like, I want you to do the mask again. I want it to be as close to the short films as we could make it. And then your point about the hair, he has hair in the short films. So this time around, because this was a logistical conceit that we made, we couldn't make up the mask to Mike's face like we would want to, due to time. We just wouldn't have time to pop the mask off and make up it back on if he needs to get out of it for whatever reason on set. So Jason built this cowl that actually goes over his whole head
Oh,
that the mask could actually magnet on and off and just saves time. So he's just in this like big cowl all night long and having to eat with this like disgusting head on
yeah.
top of his own head. But we added the hair to again try to emulate the hair that the Jester has in the shorts, but also it's a marker of time because in this this feature, I'm still not used to that word.
Yeah.
Um, he ages over the course of one night, just like the Great Pumpkin or the Ghost of Christmas Present. We said he starts and he looks clean and pristine in the mask and his hair and everything, and then as the film goes on, his hair falls out and the mask degrades and his skin gets sour, and it's not something that I think is super obvious, but if you pick up on it, it is a detail there in the film.
Yeah, I love it. And also, I think it's awesome that you guys, you, of course, it's an independent movie. You do a lot of like practical effects, which I love it. And and what was it for you, like the importance to have these practical effects when you're doing like a horror movie instead of like I know you might have used some CGI. There's some things I can see that you use it, but not because it's very transparent. It's because I've been watching a lot of movies
It's
for a long
impossible.
time,
Like
a
it's
long time.
impossible otherwise.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah. Yeah, the practical effects are definitely a logistical factor first and foremost because they are cheaper than doing extensive visual effects at this level, but also shooting with practical effects in a horror movie, especially on set, you just get the energy is completely different. You get a reaction from the actors in the scene, you get a reaction from everybody behind the scenes, and there's just this anticipation because I have pictures of our DP, Kevin Duggan, wrapped in trash bags with the camera like ready to go for whatever was going to shoot out at him at any given moment. But it's also it's so much fun when it goes right, but everything leading up to that is terrifying because practical effects, they take time to set up, and they at this level we're shooting super fast. You get one shot and that's all you have because the time that it would take to clean everything up and reset, we just do not have. So we're all just, we're wrapped in bags and just like, God, I hope this I hope this
works.
goes well. So yeah, but when it does go well, you can just feel the energy through the whole set. Everyone's just so happy, and yeah, it doesn't happen often, but it's a win.
Yes, and in your opinion, what do you think people love so much about horror movies? Because people are always want more and more of those type of movies. What do you think, in your opinion? What they?
Oh man, it's a good question because it's so broad, just like horror movie. The horror genre is broad, and there are so many different types of horror movies. You have home invasion, thriller, and then a gory slasher, and then a psychological horror movie, and it's like this, but they're all horror, and a monster movie, and they're not like each other at all. So I think it's, people like horror movies because there's a catharsis in it. We can feel terror and fright without actually having to put ourselves in a scary situation. But I think it's also catharsis in that if there are people out there like me who in your everyday life you're like, oh, wouldn't that be scary? And your brain just freaks you out for no reason. So this is a way for us to kind of just experience that horror that we manufacture in our brains every day in a visual or audio medium, without actually having to put ourselves in danger.
Yes, yes. I like some horror movies. There some of them are really scary for me. And do you have a favorite from all time?
Oof, a
Not the
favorite.
Jester. Not
No, that would be illegal for me to say the Jester. I think the movie, there's a horror movie that kind of broke my brain open when I saw it as a kid. It like ignited my imagination in a way that I don't know if any other movie has, but it's John Carpenter's The Thing. That's a movie where I'm alone in my living room watching it, and when the credits roll, I give it a standing ovation just by myself. I'm just like, you did it.
yeah.
I think it's absolutely perfect. And every time I watch it, I spend like the next 5 days just thinking about that movie. It stays with me so much. I love it.
Yeah, I think with everybody. Yes, I think it's one of the scariest ones. And I think throughout the years, like I don't know, improves and people get more creative with the ideas of horror movies, and it's crazy. Some of them are very close to something that can happen to us, and
Hmm.
some of them, it's crazy, crazy, crazy,
Yeah,
crazy. So
it's a
amazing.
huge playground.
Yeah, and are you already planning the number three, Chester three?
This process has only just ended on two for me. So, but yeah, you're always thinking about things, and just even if it's idly wondering what could that look like. Um, Not saying anything yet though. Let's
Okay.
see. Let's see what happens with this one.
Let's wait and see. So, okay, Colin, this is the time that I have with you. I just want to thank you so much for your time and keep bringing horror movies, or if you want to go venture yourself on a comedy, I'll be here to support you. Thank
Oh,
you
thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you so much. If you like to support or continue to support Jana on Camera, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share the videos.